We all get to make up our own minds about what we'll think and what we'll see and what we'll say. There's almost a pattern to all of this.
It's offensive to some people. Not only offensive, but they were afraid of it.
Well, first of all, we must come to the realization that Cop Killer is a heavy metal record.
So often, it's like the people that are in charge or the ruling class want to keep everybody
There's
dumb,
almost a
stupid,
pattern to all of
sedated.
this. There's almost a pattern to all of this.
I just wanted to add one other thing to what you said, Jill, and it was parallel with the I Shot Sheriff record. Not only does it show that the record doesn't cause the violence, but I think it's real interesting with all of the music we hear today and going all the way back to Eric Clapton's recording of I Shot the Sheriff. There was no outcry about banning that when it was produced by a white mainstream rock musician. I find it real interesting with all the violence today that it was an African American rapper who, as you point out, produced a record which was not a rap record itself but was heavy metal that got singled out by Dan Quayle and by Dan Lundgren for censorship, because there's a lot at work here. It's partly worry about rap music or other music telling us what's happening. It doesn't cause it, it reflects it. But also there's a lot of racism going on, whether it's intentional or not. I'll let you draw that conclusion. But we have to ask ourselves, why was it an African American rapper who was singled out for all this outrage and not Daryl Gates, who testified in front of Congress that anybody guilty of violating the drug laws ought to be taken out and shot? We all knew he didn't mean it, but was trying to make his point about the danger of drugs. Why didn't we understand Ice-T record as talking to us about the dangers of police brutality?
Does anyone have any questions? Does anyone have any questions? Does anyone have any questions? Does anyone have any questions?
There's a double standard. When white people put out stuff like that, they're called racist. They're convicted of every hate crime on the book. When black people do that,
What you're basically saying is that young black men who feel oppressed cannot express themselves.
No, they get away with expressing themselves a lot more than white people. There's a double standard.
There's almost a pattern to all of this. There's almost a pattern to all of this.
The rap artists are merely reflecting what is going on in our society. They didn't make up violence. They didn't make up abuse. They didn't make up brutality. It's something that's in our society. And so often the artist is attacked.
Right.
They're merely the voice of the society. The same way Shakespeare was the voice of the society.
There's almost a pattern to all of this. There's a lot of racism going on. There's almost a pattern to all of this. There's a lot of racism going on. There's almost a pattern to all of this. There's a lot of racism going on. There's almost a pattern to all of this. There's a lot of racism going on. There's almost a pattern to all of this. There's a lot of racism going on. There's a lot of racism going on. There's a lot of racism going on.
Subject's not under the influence, no weapons involved. On